Hello brothers and sisters, welcome to another episode of Real Confessions. This episode is the continuation of the confession with our brother who happened to be a worship leader and ended up sleeping with a number of women just for spiritual upliftment, according to him. How does a worship leader, a man, leading thousands in prayer, end up entangled with over 150 women, rituals, and a secret that nearly killed him? Today's confession is raw, dark, and deeply personal. This isn't just a scandal. It's a warning. And if you've ever looked at someone on stage and assumed they were pure, think again. Before we go into the story, please don't forget to check on our Telegram channel. The link will be in the description box. Let us all gather there and learn from each other. And then pray. Now let's go and listen to our brother. Like I was saying, the Sunday, they still called me to lead worship. I was weak, shaking, half-starved from the fast. But the moment I picked up the microphone, fire fell. People began screaming, falling, speaking in tongues. Some vomited. But I saw shadows. I looked across the church and saw black, faceless beings dancing behind the people. They weren't celebrating. They were feeding. Feeding off the worship. Feeding off me. After service, I sat in the car and cried for hours. It wasn't God who moved that room. It was something else, something that had borrowed God's name and hijacked his people. Over the next few weeks, strange things started happening. One night, I was invited to minister at a youth conference. Right before I went on stage, a little girl, maybe 8 years old, walked up to me in the hallway. No one else was around. She looked straight at me and said, "Are you done pretending?" Then she walked off like nothing happened. The spirits were preaching back to me. Over time, the sickness got worse. I lost weight rapidly. My skin broke out in sores that wouldn't heal. I had night terrors so violent that my neighbors said they heard furniture crashing at 3 a.m. At one point, I stopped sleeping completely. When I closed my eyes, I was in the forest again, the same forest in Benin where I had taken the vow. I saw the apostle. I saw the blood. I saw the pile of women I had laid with, now faceless, rising up to accuse me. I started hearing music play at odd times. Worship songs, yes, but warped. Slowed down. Like they were coming from underwater. The songs that once brought heaven close now became triggers for hell's reminder. I was famous, but dying. Online, I was still trending. My songs were still being shared. Churches were still calling me. But inside, I was rotting. People praised my fire. They didn't know I was burning from the inside. And the worst part, I had no one to talk to. Because the system I served had no room for truth. Only performance. The sad truth about my whole story is that they thought I was powerful. But I was possessed by what I invited. You see, there is a kind of pain that doesn't show up on X-rays. A kind of fire that doesn't burn skin but scorches your soul. That's the fire I carried with me into every worship session, every sermon, every hotel room, every church I was invited to. By now, I had slept with so many women I couldn't remember all their faces. And some of them, I later discovered, weren't even fully human. Yes, you heard me. Some were sent. I remember one night, I woke up to find a woman sitting on the edge of my bed. I don't remember letting her in. I was staying at a guest house in Port Harcourt after a major crusade. I thought maybe I had blacked out or something. She was beautiful. Too beautiful. Skin like obsidian, eyes that can pierce your soul. She smiled and said only 3 words, "You owe me." Then she touched my chest, and I felt my heart skip 3 beats. I couldn't move. Couldn't scream. Couldn't even breathe. When I woke up the next morning, there was no one there, but a bloody handprint was on my white shirt. That same day, I coughed up blood. My left eye turned red for almost like 2 weeks. And my voice, the very tool I used to lead worship, began to crack. After that encounter with the lady, strange things started happening in my home. Lights flickered even when the power was off. My bedroom door would open slowly at 3:33 a.m. every night, no wind, no explanation. I'd hear the sound of chains dragging across the floor. One night, my 6-year-old niece, who was staying over, screamed from the guest room. She said she saw a tall man with no face standing over me as I slept. I didn't feel okay now playing my own worship songs. But I began to develop some likeness to secular songs that I couldn't explain. It was as if the spirits that once empowered me now wanted my life completely. The public fall. I tried to keep up appearances. I still went on stage. Still smiled on live streams. Still got paid. But sin, no matter how hidden, drips until it floods. The women started talking. Screenshots. Recordings. Text I forgot I sent. A scandalous expose. Within days, 5 women came forward with stories of how I manipulated them under the anointing. The churches that once called me God's general went silent. Some of them blocked me. No one asked, "Are you okay?" They only asked, "How could you?" Before I move on, I want to use this opportunity to plead and tell each and everyone listening to me that, no matter what you may be going through, never make any attempt of taking your own life. Because, you may not know what God has for you going forward. Even though, life gets to a point where it seems meaningless. I have been there and I nearly made the same mistake of a decision. You see, when I realized no one was coming to save me, I tried to end it. I wrote a letter. Took a bottle of sleeping pills. Laid on the floor of my apartment waiting to die. But death didn't come. Instead, I woke up, vomiting blood, shaking violently. And for the first time in years, I prayed. Not in tongues. Not on stage. Not to impress anyone. Just one broken sentence. God, I don't want this fire anymore. I cried for hours. The kind of crying that rips your throat raw. The kind of crying only hell hears. And in the silence that followed, I felt something leave me. My brothers and sisters, no matter what you may have done, or gone through, God is always there to see you through. You see, I felt something leave me after I said those simple but profound prayers. Not fully. But enough. Enough to hope again. You see, even though I carry the HIV, I understand why I have it. It is as a result of my own choices. And I can live with it. But the life that I have now, is to tell you that, God hears you, and He is waiting for you no matter you may be going through. At this point of my life, I can say that, you can fake the gifts, but you can't fake peace. And I hadn't known peace in years. The truth is that, after that failed suicide attempt, I lay in a pool of my own vomit, alive but broken. I didn't feel rescued. I felt exposed. Like God had deliberately stopped me from dying so I could live with the consequences. I stayed in my apartment for days. Didn't bathe. Didn't answer calls. Didn't open the curtains. I just sat there, watching old videos of myself preaching, prophesying, worshiping, looking like light, but full of darkness. And I finally admitted what I'd never dared to say before, I was never called. I was recruited by darkness. That is when I started my confession. It started as a voice note to a pastor friend. I didn't think he'd reply, but I just needed to speak. I confessed everything. The rituals. The manipulation. The spiritual prostitution I called ministry. I told him how the old prophet in Owerri anointed me with oil mixed with python blood and menstrual fluid. How I was told I had to bleed a woman monthly to maintain spiritual visibility. I had believed it. I had done it. His reply shocked me. He told me to come out and confess to God from deep within myself. He assured me that, he will stand by me through it all. Apparently, he told someone about me. And he set up a meeting with the person he had the conversation with. That was when I realized that I was not the only one in the dark like that. This guy was a pastor and had his own church that he was leading. He told me that he has been doing the same thing. I want to stop too. That's when I realized my fall could become someone else's rescue. Churches may have shut their doors, but God hadn't. I didn't go back into ministry. At least, not like before. I didn't want a title, or a mic, or a stage. I wanted a soul that could rest. So, I entered Rehab. I joined a prayer accountability group. I started therapy. And I began to visit HIV clinics. Yes, by now it was confirmed. I had HIV. Likely contracted from one of the women I had ministered to. But you know what? That diagnosis didn't break me. Living fake did. This is my message to the next generation. I speak now in schools, small churches, sometimes even on the street, no microphone needed. I look young worship leaders in the eye and I say, you don't need fire that comes from a graveyard. You don't need to sleep with anyone to be anointed. You don't need incantations disguised as prophetic utterances. You don't need to trade your soul for a full church. All you need is God. But not the God you've seen through performance. The God who finds broken men and gives them new songs. To anyone listening now, if you're in the same trap I was in, whether you're leading worship, prophesying, healing, or laying hands, but deep inside, you're empty. Please, come out. Don't wait for scandal. Don't wait for disease. Don't wait until your voice is gone and your fire has turned to ash. God is not impressed by your performance. He wants your surrender. I'm no longer a famous singer. But I'm finally a free man. And that is enough for me. This is just the beginning of something real sad and heartbreaking. Check back for the final episode of this confession and let's all learn something from it. If this story hit you hard, share it. Let it be a mirror, a warning, and maybe even a lifeline to someone out there drowning in performance-based faith. Leave a comment below. Do you think the church is ready to talk about this? And don't forget to subscribe for more real confessions that reveal what happens behind closed doors in today's spiritual world.